Oh, all right, Helene. Good morning. It looks like we just got the
Good
room opened up
morning.
here in the Zoom session too. We're also live on TikTok as well,
Yep.
streaming in multiple different places. But here for the Thursday edition of Trade of the Day Live. Super excited to be here sitting down with you.
Yeah.
Helene, welcome in.
Thanks. It's great to be here. Excited to take a look at what's going on and jump into our trade picks for today.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we have, kind of typical setup here today, Helene. We're going to do our market overview, kind of, just talk about just some of the kind of, top-down things that we're seeing, that are informing some of our trade decisions today, kind of where we're looking for opportunities. So we're going to hop into that first. We do have a special topic to touch on today too. We're going to talk about one of our best performing, one of our premium trade alert services that has just been knocking it out of the park this year. And then we're actually going to wrap up too with what I know everybody wants to be here for, that they all tune in for the different trade ideas we're spotting here in today's market. So we'll
Yeah,
wrap things up with that, and of course a Q&A too. But
of course.
probably good to go ahead and dive right in, Helene, and get started. So
Yep.
let
And
me
as
go
Blaine
ahead.
said, we definitely stay tight because after the overview and looking at our winning trades, we're going to give live trade picks, actionable trade picks, as well as answer your questions live at the end of the session. So go ahead, Blaine, and
Exactly.
take it away.
Yep, 100%. So, Helene, a good day on the markets. We had some, kind of outsized volatility yesterday. It was a little surprising too, had a lot of big earnings reports yesterday. Obviously there was some questions around Netflix, but I think that was more of a one-off thing. But there was a lot of volatility yesterday. It really kind of felt like some, kind of forced, in block, just, of all the momentum names. If you pulled up a list of all of the top performing stocks, in the market this year, it seemed like all of them were down substantially yesterday.
Yeah.
It was, kind of a day of just kind of indiscriminate selling is what it felt like. And also in a lot of cases, particularly some that reported earnings yesterday, maybe didn't quite make as much sense. And I don't want to bury the lead here with my trade idea, but there were a lot that really just got, absolutely hammered yesterday,
hmm
just kind of in mass. It wasn't just, stock specific. It was just kind of the whole category got sold off yesterday. And I think that put a bit of a drag yesterday, causing some of that volatility. But, as you noted, towards the end of the day yesterday, we saw a nice recovery. And then, of course, today, pushing back up against those weekly highs.
Yeah, if you had jumped on with me live yesterday into the market close, I was like, oh, wow, we are seeing a really compelling bottoming here of the indexes, really trading well off of their lows. And I was like, hey, I might consider buying a call option on an index like an S&P 500 ETF or NASDAQ ETF. I didn't because I ran out of time. I got busy answering people's questions, but I wish I had because today's bounce was clearly what I was seeing in the market and also what you can expect from a buy the dip rally, which seems to be what we are experiencing here right now.
Yep, exactly right. Yeah. So, across the board, indexes are looking really solid. A lot of the things that sold off yesterday, of course, are, having a nice comeback today, kind of a snapback in today's trading. Just
hmm
looking at the index here, of course, we're looking at the chart of the S&P 500, again, pushing up against those weekly highs. We've traded up to roughly, 67.50, 67.40. That's been kind of the ceiling over stocks this week. That's kind of right in the neighborhood as well too, with just where the previous all-time high close and all-time high intraday levels were as well for the index. So pretty significant level of resistance there. Of course, we reached that level just a couple weeks ago. Before we had that big Friday wash and flush in the market. But we're right back up there, pushing up against those levels. And Helene, one thing I know we're watching for to see the next leg of this bull market, really break out. We need to see this index power through that resistance level. We're on pace for now having two consecutive up weeks. Last week and on track for it this week, as long as the rest of today's session and tomorrow holds up pretty steady. But we're on track for stacking two strong weeks. It seems like it's setting the table to finally break through that resistance, but that's what we're keeping a close eye on.
Absolutely, exactly. I couldn't agree more.
Yep, exactly right. So, just moving along, we saw volatility pick up just a tad yesterday, but again, it collapsed towards the end of the day. It's continuing to trend back down. Of course, looking at the chart of the VIX right here.
hmm
So, we're starting to see that VIX normalize again too, Helene. Earnings are continuing to come in good. Treasury yields are down. The long-term treasury yields down. So these are all good things for the market. But Helene, did you want to go ahead and take over the screen share? I know you had some things you wanted to share here next.
Sure. Yeah, we wanted to talk about some of our recent winners that we're seeing in the Wealth Creation Alliance. So go ahead and give me a moment here as I pull this up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we wanted to highlight that we're just having a blowout year here for the Wealth Creation Alliance. Now, if you're not familiar with this, it is a trade alert service that we have where we send trade alerts to our members with option trades and stock trades as well. And not only do we send the entry alerts, we send the exit alerts, we send the trade management alerts. Everything is really done for you as a member of the Wealth Creation Alliance. So one of our recent trades that has really just been a home run was for KTOS. This is a call option. Just a couple days ago was up over 1,505%. It was entered in August. It was a high flyer. It has still, pulled back off of those recent highs, but because of our option strategy, because of the management, we're up over 1,000% on this trade.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, this is one, all of the story behind the stock, the fundamentals are lining up, but also, of course, the technicals looked absolutely incredible. And, the
Mhm.
stock had been having a good year. Our system spotted a really good entry point. And so again, this is not a hypothetical, we just went back and cherry picked a great looking chart. This is actually a real alert we sent out to our members in real time just a couple
Exactly.
months ago. Um, and so this one has had just an incredible performance. Just really in a couple months' time. So that's been one of those just blowout alerts that we sent to members. Again, Helene, the market's been a little volatile here in October, kind of living up to that most volatile month of the year reputation that October has. Of course, too, the last couple months, August and September. We saw some volatility in those as well. But despite all that, we, with our technical systems in the Wealth Creation Alliance, the trade alerts that our members are receiving, they're still getting, some really fantastic, trade setups just like this one right here.
Exactly. And some real home runs. Another one was for a firm. This was a call option that was closed up 684%. It was entered back in June. We held that position. We managed that position. We were able to exit that position with a 684% win on the option. So just another one. After that, IWM, we had this. This was a spread position entered very recently, just the beginning of September, up over 1,000% on that trade. So we have been, spotting these killer runs. Our option strategy and our management that we've been providing for members has been leading to winning trades, not just winning trades, but home run trades, really. And one last one here, Blane, if you want to touch on.
Yeah, this one right here for Google too. Earlier this year, Helene, we talked about Google. A lot of people, it was, kind of a big story in financial media, that, oh, Google had seen its peak. Google was, well past its best days. It was on the decline, was, losing ground too fast in search, wasn't winning the AI race. All these negative headlines, they're going to get broken up because of regulatory concerns, all these things like that. But the stock has been a fantastic performer this year. It had a turnaround. Several months back, it started to continue to trade higher. Really start to put together some nice price action and performance. Our technical system spotted that, and as soon as we saw a really strong entry point, we sent out to this trade alert to our members for Google. This was a Google spread. And you can see it was up 723% just a couple days ago. And this one it's been rolled over once or twice, but we most recently rolled it over just last month on September 18th. And you can see this one's, had some fantastic results here in Google.
Oh yeah, another huge winner with Google. That's actually one that I still think has a lot of room to run, but it's one that we're continuing to manage within the Straight Alert service. So if you're on the Zoom, we went ahead and shared that link to the Wealth Creation Alliance if that's something that you want to join in on. If you're on TikTok, if you're interested in options trading, you can message me for more information and we can get you connected. Blane, I think there's one more thing we wanted to touch on real quick with the Wealth Creation Alliance. This is a trade alert service that has been um, actively profitable for over 10 years. We've been sending these alerts to members with winning option and stock trades. This record is the past 5 years that we're highlighting with gross profits over $1 million. 78% winners, 22% losers, and average monthly return winners and losers 139%, profit factor over 6. The average win has been over $3,000. So, not to pat ourselves on the back, but this has been performing very well over the past number of years, and specifically just in the past year, even amongst the volatility. I mean, April was tough as an option trader, as any type of trader, it was tough. But Wealth Creation Alliance really continued to perform for our members. And so we just wanted to highlight that, give you guys the opportunity that if you're interested, if you want to learn more about options trading, you want to get in on the Wealth Creation Alliance, now is your opportunity to do so. So you are able to take advantage of that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and Zoom, we just put that link in the chat. And again, if you're tuning in from TikTok, again, you can go ahead and just message Helene. She can get you the details sent over
Yeah.
to. If you want to go ahead and take advantage of this as well, to sign up for, one of our top, premium tier trade alert services, been putting out these incredible results. Again, Helene, these are the actual results sent out from the live trade alerts that we've been
Yeah.
sending to members for. That was just sampled from just the last 5 years. Again, this has been active since 2011.
Mhm.
Our optioneering team has been, sending out alerts to members since 2011 with this Wealth Creation Alliance. And that was just the last 5 years. That includes a lot of different types of trading too. That, includes a really severe bear market in 2022. Some additional very significant sell-offs in that period of time. Several really strong bull markets as well too. Of course, not every trader is going to be, is trade alerts going to result in a big 1,000% win. But
Of
the
course
reason we've
not.
showed those with you and shared the ones with you today is, because just showing you how strongly it's been performing of late and what is actually possible with these trade alerts. And again, our members that have been active in the service have had a chance at these, to follow along with these trades themselves. So just wanted to share that with you, give you an opportunity to go ahead and join, the really powerful Wealth Creation Alliance Trade Alert service today. Helene, I know we have a couple things to wrap up today's presentation with, and it's typically, I think, everybody's favorite part of
Yes.
the presentation.
The meat of the
And it's
presentation, why everyone joins our
Yeah, exactly.
live
Yeah,
trade
yeah.
picks.
What everybody tunes in for. It's the top trade ideas, trade picks for today. Helene, did you want to go ahead and share yours since you already have the screen share taken over, and I can close out with mine?
Yeah, sure thing. And I did just want to note that if you guys have any questions, comments, any stocks you want us to take a look at, any setups you're interested in, go ahead and mention them either in the chat or in the comments. We definitely, after we go over our trades live, we want to answer your questions. We want to take a look at charts with you. So please, we like for this to be, a back and forth. So please go ahead and take a moment. Put something in the chat, put something in the comments, a stock that you're interested in, whatever it may be. So you can go ahead and do that now. And give me a second here as I get out of this so I can share my trade pick. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay, so my trade pick today is for Teradyne. So Teradyne
Hmm.
designs, develops, and manufactures and sells automated test systems and robotics products in the United States. Now, this is a high flyer this year. This really is one of those risk on trades. Yesterday, we saw a strong sell off in all the names like this, these high momentum, these high flyers, all of that. We saw that pullback yesterday, and today we are seeing a resumption of the bull trend for these types of stocks, including this one. I'm going to go ahead and, sorry guys, share that chart right here for Teradyne. So I'm looking at the daily chart for Teradyne. It's trading above a number of key moving averages, the 200-day moving average, the 50-day moving average, and the 35-day EMA. This confirms the bullish trend and the buy signal for Teradyne. Additionally, what I'm seeing is it has been on a killer trend. Series of higher highs and higher lows, new 52-week highs, just ripping higher. And from what I am seeing, it looks like it's getting ready for a new leg up. Earlier in October, it was overbought. It was on this killer to the moon run. It pulled back, hit the middle Keltner channels, and is trading higher from there right now, making a new series of higher highs and higher lows. Today is that new short-term high, and I want to get in on this trade. It is below the upper Keltner channel, meaning that it's not currently overbought. And RSI-wise, it's also not overbought. It's below 70. So what I'm doing, first of all, if I had a little bit more money in my account right now, I'd probably do a call option purchase. But considering what I'm working with right now, under $1,000, I'm gonna do a call option debit spread. This has a lower cost for the entry, but it also provides me with additional downside protection, and that is important for this one because they have earnings coming up. So that is an important thing. I'm not afraid to play this stock during earnings, but a call option debit spread really is the way to go with a position like this, a higher risk position going into their earnings in about a week. So I'm looking at the November 21st, 120, 130 strike call option spread. It's about a month out. It's trading at 755. So anything at 8 or lower is what I would want to enter for a 10-point call option debit spread to have at least a 25% profit potential. Let's see here exactly what my profit potential on the position would be. It's 32.4%. Additionally, it gives me downside protection because the break even is 127.55. Oops. 127.55. So as you can see, that is just around about where that lower Keltner channel is. So Teradyne could sell off due to earnings, and I would still potentially be able to make money as long as that stock closes above that level, that 127.55 at option expiration. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to place this trade. I'm going to get one contract. It's currently at 755. I'm making sure that I'm using my limit order in order to limit how much I'm willing to pay for this position and ensure that I can get in at a better spot. Didn't fill just yet. I might go ahead and just bump this up a little bit. It has a fairly wide bid ask. I'm gonna do 760. That's just 5 cents higher, and I'm gonna resubmit that order, and then I'll let this one kind of sit, and we'll see if I get filled on it.
Yep, yeah, Helene, that looks like a great trade. Love the call options debit spread idea.
Hey,
I'm actually I have a similar idea today, so guess great
surprise.
minds thinking alike, right? I'll
Yeah,
take it.
exactly.
No, but yeah, great looking chart. Really like Teradyne right there. Technicals look awesome. Good looking trade. Nicely in the money. So it's I think a really wise and strategic way to play that coming into earnings. So looking
Yep.
really strong there. I'm going to go ahead and take over the screen share here, unless you have anything else you're going to highlight with yours.
No, go for it.
Okay, let me go ahead and take that back over on the Zoom and hop right in my trade idea. So
Okay.
I kind of mentioned this at the beginning of today's call at the onset, Elaine, but in yesterday's trading, kind of in block, in mass, all of the high flying momentum names, anything that had been performing really strongly in the market, pretty much just got sold indiscriminately yesterday,
Yes.
including some names that even reported earnings just yesterday, just like Vertiv Holdings right here. This is
Oh.
VRT Vertiv. They reported yesterday. They actually had a fantastic earnings report. I mean, if you go and pull it up, their Q3 report they put out yesterday, they just blew the market's expectations out of the water for, the EPS that they reported, the revenue they reported for the quarter. It was a fantastic report. They hiked guidance. It was a great quarter. But you look at the price action yesterday, and it was very, very, kind of a head scratcher. You see the stock
Hmm.
opened much higher. It opened all the way up here above 180, almost 183 or so. And then you can see the stock actually sold off roughly 6 to 7% intraday.
Oh,
Uh,
ouch.
on the back of a on the back of a double beat and raised quarter. It was really kind of confounding yesterday when I saw that. I was expecting Vertiv to have a really strong day. It
Hmm.
made the new intraday high, but sold off. Of course, it finished well off of the lows yesterday. Um, but I was a little surprised by that price action. I know there was a big risk off move yesterday. It
Hmm.
kind of got caught up in that, but you can see that the market's seemingly correcting that move today. Obviously, the stock is up substantially today. It's up almost 7% today. Following yesterday's trading, so a really nice bounce back. It seems like the market's starting to digest that really strong report yesterday. Nice thing with this one is, of course, we're right in the heart, right in the middle of earnings season. You were talking about that
Yes.
with your Teradyne setup.
Mm-hmm.
This one's already got earnings out of the way. They just reported yesterday and they knocked the cover off the ball. It was a
Even
fantastic
better.
report. The technicals are looking great for this one. Just put another good, quarter of earnings in the books. It's pushing up. If it closed at current levels right now, this would be a new all-time high close in the stock.
Mm-hmm.
Always love to see that. The trend lines are still looking really strong. They're starting to widen out between our 21-day EMA and 63-day EMA here. So that's signaling a strengthening buy signal. Of course, VRT is still trading inside of our Keltner channel bands here. So that's signaling that even though the stock is on pace at current price levels to go ahead and close at a new all-time high close, it's still not signaling that it's too technically overbought to consider an entry here at this point. So the way I'm actually looking to play this one here today, Helene, it's still with a in-the-money call debit spread, just like you were considering earlier, but it's a slightly, it's not as quite as conservative as the one you were looking at. So you're looking a little
Okay.
bit deeper in the money. It
Yeah.
makes sense. Teradyne's got earnings coming up. This one,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the November 21st options here, specifically looking at the 165 to buy to open and also to sell to open the 170 strike call here. So that's a 5 point spread. It's a little closer to the money. It's only about 13 points in the money, selling that 170 strike call. So it's, a little bit more of an aggressive play on the spread here, unlocking that little bit higher possible profit potential. So
I
you
like
can see
it.
on 5 point spread here, the cost is coming in at 3.58. A little bit less than a 50% profit potential, but kind of, right on par with that. It's close to a 50%. So I'm going to go ahead and enter this trade right here. I might have to, you know, push my limit order just a tad higher because we do have a bit wider bid-ask spread on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and move it up to, let's say, 370 just to see if I can get this one filled. I'll move it up, 20 cents or 15 cents or so. Just to see if I can get my limit order filled. But that was the trade idea I had for today. I thought Vertiv's chart looked great. I just
It
got the order
does.
filled right there at
I love
370.
Verdov too. We've been watching this one for quite some time. I believe I'm a shareholder in Verdov. I would have to double check that.
It's
But
okay. I forgive you. If you forgot one of your stock holdings, it's totally okay. But yeah, no, Helene, you're right. This is one of the ones. Obviously, it's been a huge winner this year on
huge.
top of the last couple of years. This
Yeah.
is one of these companies that's truly one of the backbones of the data center. They're right at the heart of the build out of the data center. They're making some of the custom racks. They're right in there with the cooling technology. They have a lot of the power technology that's needed, the uninterrupted power. So they're helping, deliver power solutions, cooling solutions, some of the integrated racks, all of this. They truly are kind of the backbone, holding all of these NVIDIA chips and servers that are, doing all this AI computing. So, really key cog in the machine here, really important player. It makes sense that the chart, the price action is doing what it's doing. So it looked like a really attractive entry opportunity for this one.
Absolutely. As I said, I love Vertiv. I know it's one we've been watching and trading actively on the way up. So I love that play and it looks great. And so now I guess we have gone over our trades of the day. Now we're going to open it up to a Q&A. So if you have any questions, go
Oh
ahead,
yeah.
put them in the chat, put them in the comments. We are here to look at a stock that you're interested in, analyze it technically, talk about an option play on a position that you're interested in. Feel free in the comments, in the chat, go ahead, throw your questions, your comments in there. Now, I know Jeff had asked about KTOS if we had rolled over that position before. So KTOS is a trade that we had entered. Let me double check this. It was back in August. So we
Mhm.
have rolled that position
I
maybe
think we've
once,
rolled it once, maybe.
maybe twice, because I remember there was a period of time where KTOS had flattened out. And we had a chat about how we're going to manage this trade. And we said, are we going to hold
Yeah.
it? Are we going to exit it? It's right on the cusp.
It
And
was. It was right on the margin of our trade management guidelines. It was a directional option. It had a big pop, then it sold off unexpectedly out of nowhere.
yeah,
And again, it was riding right on that line of where we would look to get in or out, get out of a directional option. But we're like, it's right on the verge, right on the margin. Let's hold it another day, watch it super, super close. And the stock had reaccelerated. It actually turned into a monster winner gave us a chance to roll that trade over, keep it open, keep exposure to that trend, and it just took off from there. It went parabolic, honestly, shortly after that first rollover. I
Exactly.
think it's only been rolled over one time, Helene. I
I
think
think
so.
once, maybe twice, potentially.
Yeah,
By yeah, once,
potentially
maybe
twice.
twice. Which is what we do. That's part of our trade management guidelines. That's what we do for our members of our service, is that we manage those trades after the entry to optimize the profitability of the trades. Let's see.
Yeah,
Next.
see, FT, you're mentioning the taco trade fluctuation since April. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that has, it seems like the market had kind of gotten wise to a lot of the tariff talk and uncertainty and kind of, filed that away as a bit of a distraction. So, it's definitely, at least up until now, rewarded a lot of investors and traders out there to kind of look through that. I know it's been aptly named the taco trade, which is kind of a funny acronym. It's fun to play around with. But yeah, definitely seen some of that happen. Of course, markets have bounced right back after the latest flare up in trade negotiations a couple weeks ago. Of course, on that Friday where we had the massive plunge on Friday following the flare up with China. But yeah, I appreciate you pointing that out, FT.
And
Helene, I
Blane,
see
I'm
FT
getting
actually asking.
Blane, one second. I'm getting some comments. Where is the link? If you're on TikTok, go ahead and just message me, do a personal message, and I'll make sure to get you a link or get you connected with more information for our options trading. Either
Actually just put it in the chat, Helene. I
Oh,
posted
okay,
it
well,
in there.
perfect.
So if you
Well,
look at
good.
the comment from Blane Markham, folks, if you see my comment I just put in there, it's the link. It's the tradewinds.com link. That is
Perfect.
how you can actually go ahead and sign up for the Wealth Creation Alliance Trade Alert service we were talking about earlier.
And if you
So
have any
that
other
link is in
questions,
there.
you can always send a personal message to me on TikTok, and I'd be happy to go ahead and give you more information and chat with you as well. So definitely make sure to do that. I had a question about the NVIDIA trade that I had
Yes.
recommended. That's from FT. And we're going to keep jumping into your questions, so definitely keep posting them in there, guys. I see a lot of questions, so we'll keep answering them. So I had recommended a NVIDIA trade, and this was September 30th. Okay, and I did a November 21st call option debit spread. I did the 160, 165 strike spread. I'm still holding this position. NVIDIA did take off. It reaccelerated the bull trend like I thought it would. Right now, it's consolidating it sideways. But the good thing is that I have a call option debit spread on this position, meaning that NVIDIA can be up, flat, or slightly down at option expiration, and I can still make money on the trade. Right now, my trade is basically flat. And that's because NVIDIA is a higher volatility position, and so it's going to hold on to time value longer than a lot of other trades. This is also a November position, which means a lot of that time value is going to decay as we get closer to the option expiration. So we're still about a month out on the position. I'm still holding it. I'm still happy with it. I'm just watching it at this point, but I would expect more profitability as we close into the option expiration for NVIDIA, because that is really when we see the time decay on the options and when our money is made on a call option debit spread. And just a
Yep.
reminder, guys, if you're just joining right now, go ahead. If you have any questions, you want us to check out a chart or our thoughts on a position, let us know in the comments, and we are taking questions live right now.
Yep, yep. And Helene, just an added comment around the Nvidia trade too. I think that one obviously they report earnings. It's going to be November 19th, so probably just before that expiration date on the trade you have there. But looking at the price action here and the technicals for Nvidia, I think that the reason this one's kind of stuck in a holding pattern right now is obviously it's run a long way. It's pulled back from recent all-time highs in the last couple weeks. But obviously this stock it's been trading largely off of the capex guidance and expenditures, that are actually being spent, not just the guidance, but the actual capex that's being spent by the other hyperscaler mega cap tech companies. So we know who all their customers are. It's the Googles, it's the Amazons, the
Mhm.
Microsofts. It's the hyperscaler tech companies, Oracle. So most of those companies, Oracle excluded, they're a little bit later. they're all going to be reporting earnings in the next week. They all start coming up next week reporting. We're going to get those updated CapEx numbers. I think as soon as we get those, as long as we, see, maintaining or most likely hiking, that's been the trend lately is seeing all these, CapEx numbers from these companies hike, saying if they're going to be spending even more on the AI build out. As long as we see that, I think that's, the stock's probably just kind of laying in wait, just kind of consolidating, waiting to get those numbers to come out because that's largely, that's where all their money's coming from. That's all the
Mhm.
revenue, that's all the earnings is coming from those. Meta included too. Meta's another one. They're the ones spending on, Nvidia's products. So we'll get those numbers next week. It's probably gonna, move one way or the other next week. Talking about the actual price. So just
Makes
throwing
sense.
that out there.
Now we have a lot of comments about when we were talking about the market overview. Note on board said the markets are being manipulated. We had Dak Prescott saying it's earnings season. That's all yesterday was. I
Is that the
agree.
real Dak Prescott tuning in from Dallas, Texas?
We had Pats fans that everyone cashed out on the AI trend, on the AI trend. I think that people are taking profits, yeah, on the AI trend. Yes, I
Yeah, for sure.
totally
Yeah, I mean,
agree.
you
I
see a
mean,
big risk off day like that. I mean, absolutely. I think that's has to be what it is because the earnings were great, the reports were good. There wasn't really another reason why. It was just kind of in mass selling. It seemed like kind of technical, you know, just forced selling almost.
yeah.
Some of those momentum names. So I think that's all it was some profit taking yesterday.
And we had one user say Friday should be an explosive day. Okay.
Could be, yeah, with the CPI coming out. Yeah, I know. It'd be the first time we've actually gotten a government economic data point in quite some time because of the shutdown. So I know that one has to come out because it's used for calculating Social Security benefits. So seems that the CPI is going to be posted on Friday, no delay there. So that could definitely be a market moving, catalyst tomorrow.
Okay, and let's see. David is asking, what are your thoughts on Beyond Meat?
Oh, Beyond Meat. Well, first off, not a customer. Not hating on you if you are. Just I've tried it. Not the biggest fan. But the stock yesterday,
Whoa.
also not a buyer of the stock. I know the stock
Wow.
has just been, kind of went to infinity and beyond yesterday to throw a little another pun out there. Um, but yeah, Beyond Meat, really just full meme stock yesterday.
Yeah.
It was really just a massive short squeeze that was triggered, kind of the whole Wall Street bets community. That's not really what I'm into. I remember back in the day when we had the AMCs and, the HODLs, Diamond Hands, and GameStop. Remember seeing all of that craziness a couple years ago. Not hating on it, not hating on you if that's what you do, if that's your thing, you made money doing that. I'm happy for you. But when I see a move like that in a company that was not doing the best financially, has a massive short interest like Beyond Meat does, and it pops, gosh knows whatever it was, a couple 100% yesterday, gets halted several times. That's a big warning sign for me. So I'm personally staying far away. If you've done well on the stock, congratulations to you. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm staying beyond away.
Yeah, I have to agree. We personally stay away from a lot of the meme stocks because we are technical traders. We're basing our decisions off of technicals, and the manipulation that occurs with meme stocks makes the technicals almost irrelevant. So we're looking at stocks that are really trading more within traditional trading patterns without any
Yeah.
wild, swings. Like a 300% swing in a stock is not normal. But I know there's a lot of money that could be made on those positions. I don't hold it against anyone that trades that way because I'm sure there's a ton of money that's made on it. I can't knock it, but
Yeah, I
it's
mean, just the
just
meme
not how.
ETF. I mean, the meme
Yeah.
stock ETF just made a comeback in the last couple weeks. I mean, obviously there's some appetite there for it. It's just not my
Yeah.
style. But again, not hating on
Same.
anybody that's done it out there. But
Yep.
Helene, seeing a company like Beyond Meat that's a $243 million market cap, so not even $1 billion. We're talking about only a couple hundred million. Really small market cap here, and that's factoring in the move of the last couple days. But seeing a stock, really small market cap like that, seeing the volume just today, this is actually just a fraction of yesterday's volume. but actually 550 million shares of Beyond Meat traded today, and that's about a quarter of yesterday's volume. So I see things like that. That's a little spooky to me. So I'm staying far away. But if somebody out there made some money on Beyond Meat, congrats to you.
Okay, next up, JB Cam said, how do you feel about CIFR leaps? Okay, I don't know much about cipher mining. Blaine, do you know anything about this
I
stuff?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not familiar with the company. It looks like obviously one of these. It doesn't look like they're profitable. It looks
They've
like
had a
kind of a
huge
mid cap
run.
stock. Just looking
Oh.
at the chart. Obviously a big momentum name. They clearly have had a big run up this year. They started the year, around $4 a share. So kind of talking about a little known penny stock almost here, but
Hmm.
obviously had a huge move up. They've cooled off a bit. Looks like some pretty significant pullback in the last couple of days. So not one that I'm familiar with. I haven't traded it. It's really not in the basket of stocks we're looking to trade traditionally. We typically stick to, S&P 500 stocks, Russell 1000
Okay.
stocks. Of course, sometimes the Russell 2000 small caps. But
Yeah,
this is not one
but
that I'm familiar with here.
just looking at the technicals, just straight technicals, and we just had FTW ask, what's the symbol? CIFR is what we're looking at right now. CIFR, Cipher Mining Inc. It's not a stock that I am familiar with. Technically speaking, it is on a buy signal. It's trading above a number of key moving averages. It's seeing a series of higher highs and higher lows. It's currently below the upper Keltner channel, meaning it's not currently overbought. It appears yesterday to have kind of bounced off of around that middle of channel. Today is a big move higher. If it's going to trade along with a lot of the momentum names, definitely see that it could trade higher from here. But once again, it's a company and stock that I'm not familiar with. But just looking at the technicals, it does look bullish, I have to say. Like I'd be bullish on the stock, but it's still hard to say because the past 2 weeks have been lower highs and lower lows. So I want to see
It's
one
definitely pulling
more
back a lot. I mean,
bullish stick.
overall, seems like it's in a longer term uptrend, but you
Yeah,
know, would like to see a bit more of a bottom form and see some recovery in the stock,
yeah.
just technically speaking, before I would look to consider any type of positioning on it, at least from the long side, bullish type position,
Oh
because
yeah.
that's a pretty steep pullback, just in a couple weeks. Helene, I see we have a chat on a comment on TikTok from Ahmad. He's asking if we work with Chuck. So
We do.
Ahmad, we do, yes. Helene is actually Chuck's daughter.
Yep.
I'm his son-in-law. I'm the chief trading strategist at the optioneering team. We work closely alongside him. We have for years. So yes, it sounds like you're very familiar with the optioneering calculators. We use all those all the time. Great tool that we have. Of course, one of the great benefits for folks using our Wealth Creation Alliance. It's something they can get access to as well. Um,
Okay.
but yes, yeah, we do work closely with Chuck. So just wanted to answer that question for you.
Next up,
Uh,
what's our thoughts? This is from Davu. Sorry if I said that wrong, but that's the handle on TikTok, and it says, "What about Micron?" I
Micron. Oh, that one has that
really
they've
like
had a
it a
big
lot.
run lately. I'm actually a big fan of their chart.
Same.
They have gone a bit parabolic, which I typically, try to be a little bit leery of when I see that. But just
I.
technically speaking, very powerful series of higher highs and higher lows.
Mm-hmm.
It obviously it had some selling yesterday, kind of along with some of the higher beta stuff. Recovered today. It's near session highs. I think it's probably got a little bit more room to run here.
I
They
agree.
reported earnings several weeks back. It was a good report. That's what led to the huge pop up here in the stock. Um, and so they've gotten a lot of follow through, on the back of that really bullish earnings report. So love to see that. It's run a long way. So I might consider
It has.
something like a spread with this one, Helene, that has a little bit downside protection
I'd
added
agree.
onto it. But I'm a big fan of Micron.
I completely agree. And it's one of those stocks that has performed so well that I've been like, when's it going to pull back? When's it going to give me an opportunity to enter? Because, we want to be purchasing when a stock is not currently overbought. And it's one of those stocks that's been so bullish that has just stayed above that upper Keltner channel. It's been hard to find an entry point. Today would be an entry point. I've been watching it for a bit. It is clearly bouncing after a pullback. It appears to be ready to make the next leg higher. I'm very bullish on it. But I agree, Blaine. A spread would definitely be the way that I would go in this position.
Absolutely. Let's
Um,
see here. I see we have a question about some quantum computer stocks, Helene. I know they obviously got smoked yesterday in the
totally.
momentum beta sell-off, but big jump up from them today. It might have cooled actually.
It
There
is
was, a little bit of a headline move on those. They're kind of near session lows today, but they
they
were up,
are.
they're still up a good bit on the day and, uh, you know, still much better than yesterday. I'll put it that way. Um,
So if I were to be looking to enter them right now, I personally would not enter them because of their movement right now. I mean, they've been straight down for what, over 2 weeks? I need to see clear
yeah,
resumption of the previous bull trend. That means a series of short-term higher highs and higher lows for the stock. Trading above technicals. Because I will say that I personally own a number of quantum stocks, IonQ, Rigetti, what is it, QBT.
the D-Wave QBTS.
Yes, exactly. A D-Wave as well. As a shareholder, I'm not selling. I actually sold one share of IonQ because I made over 100% on the stock. And I said, I'll take a share off the table. But I'm holding on to my positions right now. But if I were to be looking for new entries, I wouldn't be entering right now. And that's the difference
Yep.
there.
And yeah, the whole reason it popped today too, kind of all of the quantum names together had the big major leg up, is because there was a report floated this morning saying that the U.S. government was, in talks considering, it was quoting sources, right, that they were considering taking a stake in some of the quantum computing names. Shortly before we hopped on here, I think the administration put out a press briefing saying that that was not happening. So they had a huge pop this morning. We're all up massively. That's why they're all now back down session lows because, the administration basically came out and kind of poo-pooed that news and said, no, it's not something we're considering right now. So who knows, honestly? But like I said, it was all driven by headlines today. The technicals obviously look a little concerning with these, given, the vertical takeoff they had in the last couple months, and now almost equal and opposite reaction, vertical falling. So haven't really seen enough technical support. Haven't really seen a base build in these names that would, generate a lot of confidence for me to, consider stepping back in at this point. Helene, like you said, you're a holder of the stock. You've had them for some time.
Yeah,
It's a smaller kind of spec position.
exactly.
So
Not
if
huge positions, just enough to have some fun with it.
yeah, just like a smaller kind of mad money speculative position. So
Exactly.
something like that, you've held them, have a big gain,
Hmm.
probably makes sense to hold them a bit longer just to see if they can recover and keep moving higher. Obviously, these are unprofitable companies, high flyer momentum names, certainly very speculative, very risky, but that's kind of the idea behind that position. So,
Totally.
at this point in time, definitely not looking to enter any new positions myself on them though.
Agreed. Agreed. So next question up, what is this? ODB 233. What are our thoughts on AFGO?
On Avgo, that's another one. Huge fan.
Broadcom. Yeah, huge fan. This is one that we have traded for quite some time on this run. And it's one that has been a performer on and off over the last few years, but I mean, especially since April, gosh, this run has been absolutely killer. And I know that we have personally traded this one as a call option debit spread because of the pricing of it, and also the time value portion of the options. It just makes more sense to be traded as a call option debit spread. Also providing, downside protection in case the stock were to turn against us. But right now, the current movement of Avgo, I know it's been kind of sideways for the past two months or so, but I know that we currently have positions on for Avgo, and I am still bullish on the stock right now. So it is one that I would consider either buying the stock or entering a call option debit spread on right now.
Yep, yeah, totally agree. Obviously this has been one of the huge winners in AI. playing in the semiconductor space, they obviously have some other businesses as well. I see ODB is, mentioning their VMware business in here too. Obviously, that's more of a legacy business there. But it's something that's, really embedded across, corporate America companies probably have some pricing power there. That's, a good business for them. But, yeah, I think this one's just kind of consolidating too. It obviously had a huge spike up following their earnings earlier in early September. Has had some confirmation of that. It didn't go back down and fill that gap and go back down to prior levels. So it's, popped back up, kind of held sideways. And again, I think this one, likely could be teed up for a move higher next week as we start to hear from some of those other mega cailers, that are some of their largest customers, spending those big bucks with them, for the AI build out. So, probably get some movement on this one next week when we start getting those CapEx guidance numbers from, the Apples, Googles, not so much Apple, but Amazon, Google, Meta, all those big customers of theirs.
Okay, Blaine, I think let's do two more questions. I see them right now, and then we're gonna have to wrap up.
Let's do it.
Okay, we'll do these ones quick. The first one is James Thompson. He has asked, how does the October 31st, 22 call look to you?
Hmm.
Let
It's this.
me take a look at this.
So I've seen this ticker before. I think this
You.
is, again, it's not one that I've followed much myself. Again, one of the, really frothy kind of speculative names in the markets. Obviously, it's moved a lot. It's down about 5% on the day. Just talking about the stock, they're a player, I believe, in the uranium space. So they've been rallying largely alongside a lot of the kind of parabolic moves with the nuclear names. Not one that I would be considering myself here. This is again kind of outside of my scope of the stocks I'm typically looking at, Helene. But
Same.
for a very speculative play, could certainly serve that purpose possibly.
Yeah, and the other thing that I wanted to know is that the call option that you're looking at is the October 31st, 22 call. Currently, the stock's at 21.53, so this would be an out of the money call option purchase at this time. It could have been in the money just a little bit ago because it's at session lows right now. But our team is only looking at buying in the money call option purchases. That is our style of option trading. So personally, we would be looking for an in the money call if we were to be trading an option on this stock. We would probably be somewhere at the 17 price or a little bit lower potentially. And additionally, we like to go about a month out with our option expiration. This increases the likelihood that we're going to have a winning trade. So, because it gives time for the stock to move in the direction that we think it's going to move. A week or so out can be risky, of course, because you need the stock to very quickly move in the direction that you're hoping it's going to move. So that's why we're typically going about a month out because there have been plenty of times that a stock looks teed up to go and start charging higher, and technically speaking, has all the markings of a bullish resumption, that swing higher. And there are plenty of times where that doesn't happen immediately, and so we're often able to profit from that position because we have an option expiration that's about a month out. Okay,
Yep.
last question, Blaine. It was AP. Okay.
APLD.
APLD and IREN. We're going to look at them both very quickly. Uh, can APLD be a long-term growth stock to add to a portfolio or watch list?
Yeah, I mean, I know that they're, in the business of data center build out. That's obviously a secular growth trend in our economy. I think there's probably some better plays that I would personally favor there, but again, as a speculative type idea, I think APLD certainly for playing that role is kind of how I would personally consider it. Could be a candidate for Helene. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, yeah, I totally
Kind of
agree.
a speculative type trade, small position sizing,
Mhm.
understanding a long-term horizon on something like this. They still, aren't profitable. So they, still need to turn a profit. But sure, yeah, I think that obviously been a big momentum winner this year, kind of done nothing but go straight up. So understanding that they, at some point it's not going to go just straight up, but
Exactly.
yeah.
I will say I had liked this chart a while ago. I actually
Hmm.
had posted about it in July, and I bought one share of it just because I was like, hey, I like this trend. I'm gonna buy just one share. Let's see what happens.
Yep.
And that position is up
It's up
100.
substantially since then.
169%. So definitely, as you said, it fills that role of a speculative play that, we would do. And the last one is Iron, and then we're gonna hop off, guys. Sorry. Okay.
All right, see what we got.
Iron.
The chart looks the same.
So similar type of thing, Lane.
Yeah, it seems like it to me. Again, I'm not familiar with the company.
Me neither.
Looks like kind of it's a $15 billion company. It looks like they are profitable, so that's always a good sign. They have come down substantially in the last really two trading weeks. So, rewind just a couple weeks ago, they were trading up above $70 a share. Now they're back down in the mid 50s, so that's a pretty significant contraction in the share price. Today's the first day in about 2 weeks they've actually been in the black and actually seen some upward movement. So, maybe starting to see the stock buoy out here a little bit, find some support, but certainly has kind of the hallmarks of, one of those more frothy kind of towards the margin speculative type names that's, kind of had some of that falling knife, characteristics to it. So certainly personally for me, I would like to see a little bit more of a, technical base get built, see a little bit, more confirmation that the selling is done in this name before I'd look to go ahead and dip my toe in the water.
Wonderful. Well, I think with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today. Guys, if you have been on since the beginning, you saw that we shared a number of our best winners in the Wealth Creation Alliance. Many trades over 500% option return, a few over 1,000. And we went ahead and shared the opportunity to join that one today and become a member of the Wealth Creation Alliance, which is a trade alert service where we send out option trade ideas as well as management and exits as well for those positions. So if you like what you heard today, if you are interested at all, feel free to check that out. If you're in the Zoom, I'm going to go ahead and share that link one more time in the chat. If you're on TikTok, I know it's earlier in there, or you can always message me for more information. But I just want to thank you all so much for your time today. We love getting to be live with you guys. We love getting to answer questions, check out trades with you. Like this is what we do all day. We eat, breathe, sleep the stock market.
Sometimes even sleep the trading.
Exactly. So just want to thank you guys so much for being live with us here today.
Yep, absolutely. And I know always really enjoy getting to sit down for these TOD live sessions. Helene, thanks for bringing it again today. Some great trades. Love to get to share all the good news about the Wealth Creation Alliance with folks. That Trade Alert Service has been absolutely knocking the cover off the ball lately for our members. Really excited to be able to share the opportunity with you all to join that. Should you want to do that today, so we'd love to see you join the WCA program. I'd love to see you in there. But again, thanks so much for being here live in the room with us. Really enjoy all the interaction, all the questions,
Yeah,
ideas,
we
things like
do.
that.
It's really
Love
fun.
that. Love it. So keep tuning in. We're going to be here live every Tuesday, Thursday, doing this here live with you. So I hope you all have a great rest of your week, great weekend,
Yes.
and we'll see you back here for another big week for the markets next week. Earnings season continues to march on. Should be a lot of action next week. So we'll see you back here on Tuesday.
Okay. See you, Blaine.
Take care, everybody. See ya.